tuned in to Athletics LLC with Lamar, Lucius, Big League Chew, and my man Clyde. You're about to be schooled in all things track and field. This is experience.
Yes, sir.
We are talking past, present, future. Y'all listen up. Let's go.
Happy Athletics LLC Day, everyone. We're going to look back on this day and laugh because we'll remember. We will remember. I'm going to start off by saying, Clyde, happy birthday to you today, sir. On the day of recording, it is your birthday. So
happy birthday.
Hopefully you got a
Happy
cupcake
birthday,
or a
big dog.
cookie or something.
Much appreciated. Just please don't sing.
No. Well, Sir Lucius, that's on him. He'll break it out one of these.
Yeah, I'll take care of you later, dog. As we close the show, we'll get a little Stevie
Right?
Wonder happy birthday going. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Lord. But yeah, it's been an eventful day of work and travel and life. But I appreciate the birthday shout outs, not just from my LLC family, but from everyone who has taken the time. I appreciate you.
Awesome. We hope it's a good weekend for you. Nonetheless, we will always get you something good. PR, something. But anyhow, Mr. Governor, the governor, how are you today, sir?
Well, we are 1 week out from conference, and I am like this right now.
The beads of sweat are going to start accumulating on your head.
Yep. I mean, let's put it this way, you know, the role of an athletic trainer has entered a new level of importance, you know,
Right.
like you're
They're the
all
gatekeepers now.
buddy with the guy, and you're just hoping, right? Hey, give me something
Please.
good. Give me something good.
Every time you get a text or a call, you just clench a little bit. So I get that. I think we all get that one. Sir Lucius, how are you this evening, sir? Today?
I am fabulous. I am rolling as always.
Yes, I'm sure there are many people who wish you would stop rolling and slow down a little bit, I'm sure. But that
wouldn't be any fun, would it?
No, I mean for you. Last but definitely not least, Lamar BLM Huffins. Getting that chin hair vision. What's going on, sir?
I'm dealing with some technical difficulties, but I'm working on it.
All right.
How are we doing?
We're living the life, thriving out here in these streets. So
now we're in the streets. Okay, here we go.
Out in these Ames, Iowa streets out right now. Yay, Ames, Iowa. Yeah, that is Deliria you hear in my voice. Anyhow, let's do this thing that we call a show. And we'll start with the fun stuff and then get more in depth in the track and field as always. Big weekend coming up for the sports fanatics. You know, there's rumor that there's a football game going on at this rap halftime show. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. What are your Super Bowl predictions? Rams versus, or I guess Bengals versus the Rams, if I say it correctly. What are we looking like, gentlemen?
It's the other way around, isn't it? Because the Bengals are the home team.
No, I thought it was in LA.
But it's in LA, but the Bengals are technically the home team.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you're right. You're right. You're not wrong.
Which we all know is tomfoolery at its best, but it's clearly the Rams' home field advantage.
Right.
I think we should let the governor go first on this one because he does such an incredible job of taking care of these things.
Right. Disseminating it for everyone.
Well, so admittedly, I had not watched any Bengals games until the playoffs. Okay. Not that, you know, the Bengals were all over the primetime telecast here in the state of Texas.
But having watched them in the playoffs now, and it's obvious that this is a team of destiny. What they're able to pull off against the Chiefs is, I mean, it will go down as one of the greatest wins in the history of the franchise for sure. Certainly a win that was not predicted. And, now, I've had a chance to check out the Bengals and all what the pundits are saying and all of this. And I tend to agree with what's being said. There is one particular factor in all of this. So what we're going to see, in my opinion, is you're going to see the Rams defensive line go ham on the Bengals offensive line. And the question is going to be how good Joe Burrow is at escaping and getting the ball out to his receivers, to his tight ends, moving the ball down the field. Now, he did a masterful job in that second half against the Chiefs. I mean, goodness gracious, how many times did we see them in the backfield? And he managed to manipulate the pocket, get to that particular spot, get the ball out, and you're looking at a 20-yard down the field, 30-yard bombs, that sort of thing. So I anticipate more of the same, but I think the Rams will win that battle. And I predict that the Rams will win the Super Bowl on their home turf at the halftime of the concert, right? Is that how that works? Yeah. So that's my prediction. I think Joe Burrow will run out of magic tricks, and the Rams will end up winning this game.
I'm not convinced that the Bengals offensive line can hold up either. I think that if they do, the Bengals have enough weapons to play with anybody in the league, and they've shown that when they give the young man time. I think this is going to come down to coaching, scheming, as the football coaches like to call it. But I think that if the Rams do what everybody else has done, they jump on Cincinnati early, don't make the mistake of coming off the gas, because you let them get a little momentum going and get rolling. And it's like, okay, you guys are playing not to lose. You're not playing to win anymore. And then once they smell blood in the water, they're incredible. All that being said, I do believe overall the Rams might be the better team because of the defensive line, because of the defensive side of the ball. But I am a true homer. I'm all Ohio. I'm in every day, all day with the Ohio boys. So I'm rooting loud and proud. I'm calling for the Bengals to continue. See, I'm going to go back to the college football playoffs, right? All the time I said Cincinnati's getting in, right? And then, so now let's be clear. Cincinnati now has a team that played the college football playoff and a team that's playing in the Super Bowl.
Wow. He said it out loud.
I said it out loud.
Oh, man.
So I want
That's
the Bengals to
funny.
win. And for those of you that are anywhere near Cincinnati, when the Bengals win the game, there's going to be a party in the Dirty Natty that's going to last for a long time. So y'all better buckle up and go get it on.
Amen.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Man. Our two cohorts are muted, so I'm going to take that as a sign as they're not okay. Just kidding, I lied. Lamar.
I'm not sure what sign you were taking that as. It's just it was
That you
loud
are
here.
not available.
It's loud here, so I was just not trying to loud over anybody else.
What you got for us, OSM? Come on, brother. What you got for us?
I'm gonna be.
See, first of all, I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm gonna need you to sit up straight in your chair and be the EP and put some life into this conversation. Act like you want to be here, bruh.
I'm sitting up straight in my chair, and Dad, I do want to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I only did that because you get it to me last week. That's the reason I did.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. You gotta be able to take it if you're gonna give it. That is fair.
Absolutely. But go ahead. I apologize, so I didn't mean to interrupt.
Nah, you're
interrupt
good.
your greatness.
You're good, and yeah, okay. Look, I'm gonna be completely forthright. Most of what I'm about to say is probably more emotional than my brain's talking. One, the Rams suck. Two, I can't ever in life root for Matt Stafford or Sean McVay. So I'm going to pick the Rams to lose because that's what I think that Rams do. I think that they are going to be full of themselves because they think they can beat the Bengals and they're playing at home. And I think that the Bengals are exactly where they are used to being underdogs, being overlooked, being all those things, and being told all the time why they can't win. Listen, they couldn't beat my Chiefs. And I said my Chiefs because I've been riding that horse all year as far as like what NFL team I thought was going to win. But they did, right? So do I think this is going to be a pretty game? Yeah, probably not. The Rams are incapable of playing pretty football, first off. And I don't know that the Bengals like playing pretty football. So I don't think it's going to be a pretty game. And you know, I think the Rams are going to show up and be Ramish, and for somehow figure out how to lose the game. There's no shot that they should lose. The Rams are actually statistically, I think, better than the Bengals everywhere except like, you know, actual offense. But the Rams look better on paper everywhere. So, I just listen. I lost a fantasy football championship to Joe Burrow. I lost gambling money to Joe Burrow. And then I lost, you know, whatever, you know, pundit pontification skills I had to Joe Burrow. At this point, look, I'm a battered individual. Joe Burrow is going to win the Super Bowl. Not even the Bengals. I'm at that point now. It's like they're the Cincinnati Joe Burrows.
Okay.
Wow.
The rough life.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was honest.
Birthday boy. Oh,
So-
Birthday boy, what you got?
So I've been thinking about this on many levels. Though I like where Lamar humbly brought himself at the end of that tape. I don't agree with some of the things that he threw out there. When you look at, obviously the Rams have the better defense and significantly better, you know, front lines on both sides of the ball, but the Bengals have the better quarterback and the Bengals have the better collection of weapons. Cooper Kupp's amazing. I think he's the best in the game right now, but collection of weapons overall, I'll take the Bengals over the Rams. Now, the Rams do tend to play ugly football. At the end of the day, man, I'm on my, you know, Brady has retired and I'm just, you know, in search of a new QB. And I'm really leaning towards Joe Burrow, man. I like this kid. I like everything about him. He feels like the guy. And if he goes and pulls this off, he will be the guy. There's a very, very compelling argument made out there in the pundit world today. The NFL awards, all the leagues do, right? They award their MVPs based on the regular season. It's a practice that I think is stupid. So I guess Aaron Rodgers is going to win the MVP. But if you took the playoffs into consideration, Joe Burrow's the MVP. Like, he'd have to be. And I just feel like the Bengals are going to pull this off. I don't know how. I think it's going to be a mess. I think there's going to be mistakes. And I think at the end of the day, Joe Burrow's going to find a way to get his Joe Montana, Tom Brady moment on and win the game at the end. That's what I think is going to happen.
Wow. That's
We got
quite
any
a collection.
predictions for final scores?
Bengals by what? 31-28.
That's
Who's winning
I'm
30 to
gonna
27.
I'm gonna go 24-21 Bengals.
I think there's going to be a lot of points. I'm going to say the Bengals are going to win in like some sort of strange fashion. So it's going to be like 37-35.
I said 30 to 27.
30 to 27.
Rams, yes.
Rams. I like it. To be noted.
So I just for the record, every Ram fan in America should now be totally just pissed off because you have been for life in predicting playoff.
I know. Yeah. Wink, wink. Yeah.
Now wait,
Okay,
don't Chew
wink.
have to pick this? Isn't this one of the contests where Chew has to get involved?
Oh man. So
Okay, like
I
let's
think
just be honest.
I think you're just
Chew is a
rubbing salt in the
diehard.
wound.
She's a
I know where
diehard
Chew is going.
49er
I know
fan
where Chew
and
is going.
literally hates all things Rams.
Yes.
Sure. But please pick. Let's hear this.
Yes, let's hear it, Chew.
I mean, I can't ever go for a Rams anything.
Told you.
I mean, when it's Year of the Ram in the Chinese Lunar New Year, I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this year. So hard pass on the Rams. It's a hard sell for me on the Bengals, but out of pure principalities, it's got to be the Bengals. So I'm saying Bengals. And I'm torn on the score. That's where I was keening into what y'all were saying, but just based off what you guys are saying, not because of anything that I think in regards to the points being scored, I'm going to go with I have to think of the multiples. I'm going to go 28-21.
Wow. Okay.
Straight math. Just straight math. So that will be noted. I will put that on the Twitterverse after Friday. But that was fun. That was a good one. And I think there was only one sensical answer, as we use that word.
Would you guys like to know what the line is right now, the current line?
I mentioned
4.5, right?
3.5.
Oh, it moved from 4.5.
Yes. And now it's 48. The over is 48.
So I'm going to find someone.
48.5 is over under.
I'm going to find someone that I can unload my money to and gamble. And I'm going to bet a large amount of money on the over.
Okay.
Now, if I could have gotten somebody to take my money when the Bengals were getting 4.5 points, I would have bet my whole bank account on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that.
Rams are 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 games.
It's because they play ugly. They play ugly. Like, what's so funny to me about the way the Rams play is their coach is touted as a genius.
Mm-hmm.
They're the least buttoned up good team in the NFL.
Yeah.
That speaks solely to coaching.
Yeah.
So Dennis the Menace and his genius moniker are ridiculously overrated, and I cannot wait to see the Rams lose.
Bengals have covered in 7 straight games.
Well, it's why though? 5 of those games they weren't favored, so
yeah.
So it's like they just had to win. You know what I mean? It's like it's different. Like when you're trying to cover every week and you're the Chiefs and you're like your spreads are like 9 points. It's different. The Bengals are the hottest team, but I'll say this though, like because this doesn't happen very often. The Bengals are legitimately the hottest team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. The last time I remember a team like this was when Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl when they went in as whatchamacallits. They went in as wild cards and were actually favored in the wild card game.
Mm-hmm.
And then just went on a run and blasted everybody. Like that's what the Bengals feel like right now.
Well,
Anyway.
we shall see. We'll pay a little attention to the game and then watch all of the concert, so we'll be all good. What we all came for tonight, right? Track is back. There's quite a few things to talk about.
Where are we going to start?
I like literally, I guess I'll throw this one out there so we can get it out of the way and it doesn't get forgotten or lingered on. The announcement of the day from Clyde's birthday friend.
Jay Gatt hung up the spikes today. Yeah.
That is true. You know what? First of all, as my birthday twin, you know, props to Justin for walking away on his own terms at a time that he felt appropriate. Justin's one of these figures in our sport that, you know, is very polarizing for very righteous reasons. No matter what side of the aisle you fall on as it pertains to Gatt's career, it was hard to watch him go out at the trials last year with an injury. That wasn't fun to watch. That wasn't a good moment for the sport as far as I was concerned. And so because he went out that way at that time, a lot of people, you know, thought that he would, you know, be coming back and taking one more run, especially since, you know, world championships are on our home turf. But, you know, I saw his announcement and honestly made me feel proud of him. And that's where I sit today. Proud of him. I've enjoyed watching the way his career has ended up. And regardless of what you think about the way it started, I feel proud of Justin and what he's done, especially in his second act. And so props to you, sir, and congratulations.
Can I stick something in there really quick, just on that one
particular
topic, and then you can have it. Justin Gatlin is one of the most interesting sports figures to me, for exactly where Clyde went, right? Like we just came off of, and I don't know how much you guys pay attention to this stuff, but we literally, like, we're still reeling from the fact that Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds basically have been told to go away and you're never getting in the Hall of Fame. They were on the ballot for 10 solid years, never really got that close to the obvious percentage they should have. And it's clear, like, they ain't getting in, right? But I think it's very interesting. Like, Justin Gatlin is like the exact same drug scandal as Barry. Like, you know, it's all that stuff is in there, right? But I think at this point in time, if you were to ask people just generally about Justin Gatlin, you'd get two answers. One, most people like him at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody like looks at Gat's like, nah, I can't stand that dude. And two, I think most people would agree he probably is a Hall of Famer. And I think that that's very interesting, because in most sports, I don't think you could do what he's done.
Yeah. See, and I think
so. That was it. I'm sorry to get out of the way.
No, you're fine. Like, because like that was kind of, you know, part of what I was going to say. Like, first of all, I'm gonna side with Clyde here. Like, absolute kudos to doing it at the right time. Like, no one wanted to watch what happened to him at the trials and let that be the last memory of Gat. But I think all of us would agree that we definitely didn't want to see him come out there this year and be in a shell of what we saw then. So I thank you, Justin, for walking away and letting us to hold on to the great memories we have of you. And I think when you talk about Lamar, I think like most people really like Gat. You know, I don't know anybody that doesn't like him. And I think that the caveat to the Hall of Fame picture is that see, Bonds and Clemens walked away as drug cheats. You know, Justin was accused, he served his time, and he came back and he did it clean. So if you're gonna judge him on the Hall of Fame, he's gonna get in on the clean side of his career. So.
Well, didn't the same thing happen with Bolt? He got injured in his last race.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And retired soon after that. I mean, Justin Gatlin, I would put him to Clyde's point, you know, and Lamar's point. He's one of the few people that have been convicted drug cheats that have managed to come out on the other side. And I would say that there are lessons to be learned. And I would put Dwayne Chambers in the same boat, where they both, you know, they tested positive. They tested, you know, for PEDs, but they somehow managed to take that negative and turn it into a positive. And for Dwayne Chambers, you know, and I'm sure Justin Gatlin as well, they're still going to be a part of our sport, even in retirement. And, you know, there's, when you think about the adversity and the amount of years that Justin was sitting out, and, you know, there's all kinds of talk and, you know, but he never stopped training, never stopped preparing. He was ready for that moment, you know, when he got his chance to come back. And when he came back, I think, you know, it is the stuff of movies. Like you don't see stuff like this when an athlete has to sit out 4 years. Was it not 4 years? How long was it?
It was 4 years.
Yeah. To come back after 4 years out and to have the career that he did. Unbelievable. So kudos to Justin. We will be, you know, I mean, he's definitely a part of, you know, that generation of sprinters that did amazing things, and not someone that we will soon forget. So congratulations, Justin, on your retirement.
And I'm gonna say this, that I apologize. We were off last weekend, so I really didn't pay much attention to what went on. So please forgive me, but I do know that there was some pretty fast 60s run in New Mexico last weekend. So I do know that. What are our thoughts on the New Balance Grand Prix meet?
Well, I will say one thing caught my eye. I saw a Mr. Noah Lyles execute probably the best start I have ever seen him execute.
Hold on a second. Let me interrupt you for 1 second. There is no probably to that, sir. That was the best executed start he's ever had.
Right.
See, you're such a nice guy. But no, that was the best start that dude's ever had. So I apologize for interrupting, but go ahead.
And in today's world, 656 may not seem like something earth-shattering, but we're talking about Noah Lyles here.
Yes.
And so it did not escape my attention. And I'm really excited to see what he has in store for the rest of indoors if he chooses to run, and then outdoors. Pretty scary stuff.
So this is my take on that race. One, clearly the best execution he's ever had. Two, the post-race interviews where he talked about how he's studying his competition.
Yes.
And I almost wanted to just, obviously, I've known Noah since he was a baby. I wanted to pick up the phone and call him and go, about time, bro. Get in the game, right? And first, and then the big one is this, right? And if any of you Cosby Show fans, when Claire Huxtable stood up and said, "Let the record show there was a problem," right? Let the record show. If that dude does that in the heat of the battle, that's a problem.
Yes, it is.
Well,
because he accelerates out of track better than anybody else.
Yes. Ever since his arrival, I think everybody would, there's not a lot of agreement of anything in this sport, right? But I think something that you could get about 95% of the people to agree on is that since his arrival as a pro in the sprint world, no one has better top end speed than Noah Lyles. Like that's been where he is, right? If he's going to start in a fashion that puts him in the mix at 30,
let the record
40,
show.
at 50, it's a huge problem.
Yes.
It's a huge problem. And you know, I watched the race. You know, like I said, the time doesn't mean anything. It's how he did it. I found it very interesting on the broadcast. They talked about he actually switched his feet.
Yes.
Which is a hack that I have used and a lot of coaches have used. Like, look, sometimes your bad habits are just that bad, and you just got to throw it out and do something you ain't used to doing because you won't screw it up as bad on the other side.
Right.
And it works. So there's a hack for everybody who's watching in that regard. But listen, for me, it was his reaction, not just the interview. It was his reaction going through the line, because he understood, if no one else did, that was different and that was important and that meant something.
Yep.
It's February. And that boy came across the line like he won Olympic gold. So you know he's been working on it. You know he's taking it seriously. You know it's something he understands needs to be fixed.
Yep.
And it's like he figured out, you know, how to open the gate to all these other things that he wants to do. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, since you guys have started speaking on this meet, I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm not admirable. I'm not lieutenant, but I am definitely going to be Captain Obvious tonight. Grant Holloway is better at track and field than all of us are at anything. And
take offense to that statement.
I know you do. Yes, I knew you were going to. And every single person on this panel has done block starts. And every single one of us knows your worst nightmare is, for some reason, you come forward, they don't shoot the gun, you're going backwards and they shoot the gun. Right? Because you know for sure you can't go nowhere that way.
Yeah.
The other recurring nightmare is you're coming to set and they shoot the gun. And now you're in mid-movement and you have to get to where you were going and then start, right? Okay. So Grant is almost at set and still moving, gun goes off, and you think to yourself in this blink of an eye, well, damn, this isn't going to be good.
Nope.
And then you run 7:37 and you're like, no, see, there's listen, just like armless men are not supposed to drive, you're not supposed to be able to run 7:37 when you never get to set.
Yeah.
Like that's just not supposed to happen.
We're kind of lost on the armless man.
You shouldn't be lost. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Anyway, like watching that dude hurdle, if you've hurdled or ever watched hurdles, watching that dude hurdle, look, it's like watching Picasso paint. You know, like every time he hurdles, I'm just like, I want to sit there and just get out my notebook and be like, that's amazing.
Lamar,
look at that.
did you hear the stat that they threw out there?
What, that he hasn't lost since he was like an embryo? Yes. Yes.
8 years?
I think
Is it 8 years, Sir Lucius?
2014, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
2014.
hasn't lost a race an indoor race in 8 years.
And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this.
He ain't going to lose one anytime soon either.
I'm going to say this and piss all the sprinters off. Had he gone to Milrose, he still wouldn't have lost the race because he'd have won the damn 60 there too.
Man, listen.
That dude is, right now, right this second, Grant Holloway is the best track and field athlete in the world.
Oh,
right this
that's a
second.
bold.
I know it
That's
is.
a bold.
I know it is because I'm a card-carrying, flag-waving member of the Ryan Krauser for President fan club.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, we'll have to address that at a later date. I think
That could be a topic on next
That
week's
sounds
show.
like a topic.
It's an interesting topic. We'll have to circle back around for your thrashing on that one. But you know what you know what last weekend. No, never mind. You right. You right. We're gonna let him live on that one for a while.
That's funny.
What I found very, very interesting, taking it way left, like the most split segue ever. I'm trying to do a good job of in my downtime paying attention to events that I typically wouldn't pay much attention to, right? I feel like that's a good thing for me to do. And I find it hilarious that we are now dead center in the middle of indoor season for the NCAA. And the entire 5,000 meter men's and women's list is dominated still by December 4th weekend at BU. Is anybody gonna crack this top 10 outside of that race? Like,
okay, so here's what I'm gonna tell you. Like, and I just kind of lead me down the path I was gonna go. Like, Washington is this weekend, so there'll be some cracking, right? And remember the 5K, the 3K, and more importantly the 5K, they're going to get it done coming off a cross country season.
Yeah.
And those who had to go back and retool a little bit have been retooling for this weekend in Washington. So I expect the mile to go crazy this weekend because there's a big distance classic going on in freaking Vanderbilt this weekend as well.
Oh, of course.
You know? See, everybody's figured out, hey, there's an oversized track in Vanderbilt. You don't have to go way across to the West Coast. So it's kind of the West Coast and then the people in the middle. And I think there's still some people from the Midwest and the East are going to go out to Washington. But people have figured out if you get the right people in the right place, you can make this happen. And so I think that you're going to see some of that get cracked. I do.
Well,
yeah, who can remember the debacle in Notre Dame? When
no rail. No rail and no cones. Right?
No rail.
Look.
Unbelievable.
Well, okay, so during the indoor season, I think there's always these arguments and points of contention, right? And there's this category of people who don't really believe that tracks matter, which is obviously silly. But in the sprint world is where that most of that gets paid attention to. Like, people are picking and choosing the races and the distances that they're going to try to attack this list on. And this weekend, as Lucius pointed out, is one of those, distance heavy fire weekends. Like, yes. People are loaded up. They done got on planes. They're all converging. Like, this is just one of those weekends to really have your eyes on the distances. And, we had back-to-back kind of crazy sprint weekends, right? And those will continue. But, distance runners are very meticulous. This coach is very meticulous.
Let me tell you something right now. You better hold on to your seat all weekend long, because there is one heck of a track meet going on at Clemson University this weekend.
Oh yeah. Clemson, New Mexico, Arkansas.
Right.
It's all there.
It's going down.
Yes.
Right. Like, yeah.
Because we're just far enough away from conference for it to figure out, for it to matter. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got two.
If I'm not mistaken, Bowling and Harding are gonna hook up in this 200 at Clemson.
Ooh,
Miss Battle and Miss Steiner are going to hook horns.
Okay.
In the 200 there as well. There's a pretty good women's hurdle race here in Arkansas with Miss Armstrong and Miss Stark. That's going to be good. So I mean,
Last
it's going to
week-
be a
last
hot
weekend was a good weekend for the pole vault. There's a lot going on in the vaults last week.
Yeah.
Ms. Gunnarsson and Ms. Baxter, LSU, Virginia Tech, top of the list last weekend, and Virginia Tech has another one.
And it's interesting. Like I don't think anybody's paid attention to the LSU's got 2 girls over 6 feet in the high jump, and a third girl just jumped 5'10", and the third girl's PR is actually better than the girls that have jumped higher than she has so far this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Now I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce this. I'm gonna let a big league handle this, because the performance of the week last week might have been in the men's triple jump. I can't say the man's name.
Dude,
I'm gonna try.
Dude,
You go ahead.
it's
Dude. Yeah.
Chingatapia. Yeah.
One more time for the fans.
Chingatapia. Do. We call him Do. And the funny story.
Where does that even come from? Where does that come from?
That's
Mr.
that's
Hudson,
actually
would
a
you like
really
to tell
funny
the story?
story.
Yeah, tell the story.
No. I'll let one of his coaches tell the story.
Well, anyways, so wait, no, I don't know it actually. I wasn't in the room. I only heard it from you. I know that his family now calls him that. That's why I'm forgetting.
Choking with the story.
It's no, not at all. It's kind of a long story, so I'm going to give the short story. That basically, someone gave him the nickname Do, but it was an extrapolation from somebody else's nickname. It really wasn't even for him. And they're like, well, we're going to call you Do. And he did really well. So, and of course, they look at his actual name and they can't pronounce it. So everyone has gone with Do. And it's to the point now where I think most people think his name is Do.
Yeah.
Right? Like they think his name is something African that starts with Do. Does that make sense? So they've never seen his name. Sure. So they think his name is Do something, Mapaya, but his actual name doesn't start with a D. Doesn't even have a DU in it.
There's not a D in the first name.
Exactly. And then it doesn't help when Chu posts on her social media sites Do.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks that's his name. Well, if you had to just explain it to me, I thought the man's name was Do.
It's funny because it's funny because I told him, I said, when you have kids, you have to name them Done and Finished, right?
Stupid.
That's our little joke.
So let me give you some stats, and these are things that have happened already, and I think that this weekend it's going to get even worse. On the women's side, as of today, there are 14 women who run under 205.
Yeah.
14, and 2 of the better girls in the country are opening up this weekend. There are 16 girls who have run sub 5280. Wow. There are 17 girls. I apologize, ladies. There's 17 women who have run under 2335. There are 18 women who have run under 727 in the 60. And there's 16 women that run under 816 in the short hurdles.
There you go. Right. There's the one.
That's the one.
All of that was ridiculous, but that's the one right there.
Okay. And on the men's side, it's okay. You got 16 guys under 4660 already. I don't believe we're going to have the explosion last year where it took sub 46 to get in the meet.
Right.
But I think if you don't run 46.3 by your conference weekend, you should be someplace sweating bullets, right? The EP is going to like this stat because he's trending towards being right. There's 21 guys under 665. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
And in the hurdles, 5 guys under 660.
Yes. And in the men's hurdles, and a mark that typically gets in every year, easy. There's 16 guys under 778 already.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That is crazy.
Hey, but you know what though? Props to the men's hurdlers. It's getting better.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
No, it's not.
It's getting better, man. It's getting better.
It's not. See, you're part of the problem.
No, sir. Wait a minute.
778 ain't fat.
Now, what'd you just say? 778 usually gets in.
I said it usually gets in.
And
Okay,
right
so
now,
okay.
it looks like it's
So
not going to get
apologize.
in.
Okay, I apologize.
So it's
I
better.
apologize.
We all don't have, 730 toys.
I
to play with.
apologize.
Just falling from trees.
Oh yeah, I got all kind of 730s falling out of trees in Gainesville. That's for sure. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, let's not neglect to announce that one of those sub 60s is Benjamin Azamati, who's a D2 athlete. So that's not even on the list.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And he looks good doing it too.
I was gonna say, look,
Did he?
all the D1 folks better be happy Mr. Azamati's not a D1 cat, because trust
Well,
me.
see, and if
there's
you're,
more
if
in
you're
that
Mr.
tank.
Azamati's coach, you better be taking his phone so people can't be texting
Right.
talking about come to a Division One
I
school.
mean,
Because you know how that works.
Oh my gosh.
The realities
Yeah.
of the portal.
Yes. Yes.
Mm. Mm.
So when
something.
in the track and back deal, like the weekend's gonna be crazy, folks. It's gonna be phenomenal. A lot of great races. I'm telling you, if you haven't, by the time this airs, the meet will be going on. But just go check the start list for Saturday at Clemson, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a meet going on with Iowa State. Like I said, there's meets all over the country. There's going to produce some great marks. It's really going to be interesting.
But this weekend is always the weekend, right? The Tyson weekend is what it used to always be called, because it was the meet. Now there are several of those, but like this weekend, and it's perfectly timed. It's 2 weeks before most conference meets and all that. But like this weekend is always the weekend where the list goes nuts.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, look, very quietly, like in a little corner in Albuquerque last week, the men's shot put list was taken from Mr. Turner. I don't know if anybody saw that.
Mm-hmm.
You got two collegiate men over 21-35 now. Hello?
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah. Who did?
The young man from the University of Texas, right?
University of Texas, yeah.
Oh, Adam.
21-45.
I mean, and look, again, very quietly, nobody paying attention. Like Adam's teammate, a product of the portal who used to be a Boilermaker, opened up his collegiate season at 1976 or something like that.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And right. Texas, so it's like, here, take some of that.
Overtook on the backs of all of that, right? The Texas men overtook the indoor ranking as number one right now. Yeah. Haven't seen that in a while. Right, so very, very.
I think they're number one on the men and number two in the women. So a big shout out to Coach Flo and his staff for what they're doing down there in Austin.
Last week overall felt like a calm before everything explodes. Right, it wasn't a huge bit of news, but there were highlights and spots, and so. The next week we may not be able to get it all in.
No.
Right.
I can't tell y'all how many. I don't know how many teams are here in Albuquerque, but there's a lot of people in Albuquerque. Like, Texas A&M, of all the places they could have gone, they're in Albuquerque. Like,
well, speaking of Texas A&M, we are all we've traditionally gone to A&M twice, maybe 3 times a year. That is going to change next year. And we're talking about 2, maybe 3 years down the road where they won't be hosting any more indoor meets. So believe me, I'd say Tech, New Mexico, all these tracks are about to get even more flooded with schools from Texas looking for good tracks to compete on.
But when they come back,
I was gonna say, but when A&M when A&M's indoor facility is done, that's all I got. I'm not allowed to say a lot of things. I just know in all of our lifetimes, I don't think any of us will see a checkbook like the one that was handed to Pat.
Before you get yourself in trouble, stop.
I didn't say nothing. Jeez. Well, I got all kinds of parents on the show tonight.
Because you need
Hey, look, bro, I said one thing, and now you gonna have an attitude.
Look, you're about to
Mom
put
and
on restriction.
mom and dad. Here, let me mute myself.
You
Anyhow.
need a few. You need a few.
Anyhow, next topic. So this was one that was presented to us. If you're able to bring back one retired athlete, doesn't have to be American, it can be international, come back and compete one more time in their prime. So not as a retired athlete, but in their prime. Who would it be? Who would you like to see come back for one more show?
I'm gonna say one thing and then I'm gonna mute myself. I want to see Carl in his prime race Bolt in his prime.
Ooh. Okay.
Why would you want to see that?
You want to see the slaughter.
Oh God.
You guys are hilarious.
What? Why are we hilarious? See, okay, so I am simply asking you why you want to see the race, and now I'm hilarious. Can I get a quality answer?
Carl Lewis in his prime literally had absolutely no competition, and he never ran fast or hard. I would love to have seen Carl Lewis.
Okay.
Ooh, boo that.
Anyway,
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, hold on a second.
Feel free to speak on your own opinions.
Okay, so here is my opinion in converse to yours, right? You watched him have to run Leroy down to break the world record when he ran 984, 985, right? But then you say he didn't run hard.
I think we have Carl Lewis in his prime mixed up.
Okay, so what in his prime when he broke the world record?
I think that the 4 gold medal Carl in Los Angeles was as good as Carl could ever be, because he was way better than the rest of the world. So whatever happened later, sure, it is what it is. I want the 1984 version of Carl Lewis to race
versus which Bolt?
Pick one.
The 2009 Bolt.
I want the 958 Bolt. I don't think Carl's going to win. I just want to know how fast Carl could actually run.
So we're good.
Does that make sense?
Say that.
Yeah,
why?
say that. Yeah.
I'm answering the question.
No,
the question was, what one person do you want to see come back for one more? Right? I gave
so
the
you
answer.
didn't answer
I
the
didn't
question.
say he was going to win.
If you're gonna go there and be all whatever you're doing right now, you gave us 2 people, so you didn't answer the question.
Okay, so
I'm gonna get off because before we get started.
took the camera off. I had like 10 answers to this, and it really just depends on your rationale for such an answer, right? So I'm gonna default to my normal instincts and give a slightly petty answer.
Oh boy.
I want to see Prime. I want to see Prime Flojo come out and race right now, so we can all know who the real world record holder is, which is
Ooh. Okay.
So I didn't know this was going to turn into a versus. I thought we were just going to pick people to run. I didn't know
if I'm bringing them back, I want to see a race.
Okay. So now I got to change my thought process. We're talking about somebody can have race somebody.
So
see what you did, EP. See what you started.
So my thought went immediately to the summer of 1998. You remember what happened over in Europe in 1998 that shocked the world?
Was that Mo in the 200?
Shorter race, half the distance, a certain female. I would like to see Christina Wrong get on the track and actually execute that race the right way to see really how fast. So she ran 10:73 in that race. And you remember how far back she was? I mean, what could she have run? Like her top speed still to this day is one of the fastest ever. And it's stuck in the back of my head because I can see that race. That and then running down Privilova on the 4x1. Oh my gosh. I mean,
no, that was cold-blooded.
that was
that was
unbelievable. So that's my thought.
You want to go next slide? Or you want me to go?
Oh, I went.
Oh, you did. Oh, my bad. I was too busy picking.
He wanted the
picking
verses. He wanted the verses.
Yeah, my bad. I
I'm
was too
here
busy
for the
picking out
verses.
Lamar. Exactly. Yeah. So I guess it is my turn then, isn't it? So I'm gonna go in the Wayback Machine, and I want to talk about a guy who I think got cheated out of his career because he made a decision to change sports, and I would love to see Nehemiah at his prime.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
And continue on and not go play football because the money wasn't there. Because I think that we would be chasing something a little faster than 1280 if he had not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's my guy. Right
Agreed. And to Lamar's point, I would have loved to have seen 84 long jump Carl go up against 1991 Mike Powell. That's what I wanted to see. And to further your point about how easy it was for him, I believe the track and field world still has not forgiven Carl for taking that one jump in 84 and shutting it down.
No question.
You don't open up with 870 plus and say, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, hey,
I'm done.
y'all have a nice day. I'm out of here. I got other things to take care of.
Wasn't he booed for that?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure.
Mercilessly.
I'm sure.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so I never get an opportunity to talk about that, right? Athletically, boo him. Absolutely. But that is one of the all-time great moments of petty in history of the world. And so I have to kind of applaud him.
You got to applaud him.
Listen, you are going to give him a standing ovation.
Absolutely. Because what that is that literally on the Olympic stage is the equivalent of, look, I don't have time to play with you children. You're not worthy of me jumping in your presence.
Yeah,
I'm out.
Why are y'all here? It's messing up my party.
What's funny is, right, like Carl's karma is that he's not the world record holder in the long jump.
People point
right, like
to 84.
Listen,
and they will live and die on that sword.
Understand this. In 84, he should have broke the world record by a ton.
Yeah.
In 87, at the Olympic Festival or 86, right? Or was it Pan Am's that was in Indianapolis, the Phantom Foul.
Oh yes.
87, right?
I think,
yes.
Yeah, that was 87. Yeah.
So in 87, they called a plane foul. So there's no mark on the plasticine. They measure it as 914.
Yeah.
Right? The man jumped 30 feet.
Yeah.
Right. So dude for sure should have broken the world record multiple times and literally never held it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right? Like there is no question who the best long jumper in the history of long jump is, and it ain't close.
Yeah.
Right? But his karma for that 84 petty is you don't listen. You don't look. You know what? There's a reason Sergey Bubka is not the world record holder in the pole vault anymore.
There you go.
Same thing.
Yes.
Right.
Just
you want to break world records by a centimeter?
Be like,
okay,
no,
that's cool.
Hey, but at least that was a business decision. this was just pure petty. This is I'm not about to stand in line and watch you clowns jump. I'm over it. That's what that is. Like I don't have time for it.
Oh man.
So if we're gonna play the versus game for a second.
Oh goodness.
So how about we do a Edwin Moses in his prime versus Warholm in the game?
Ooh.
I'll take the Viking.
Oh man.
I mean, look, if we're gonna do the versus thing, like like if we're just gonna set it up, I mean, let's just be absolutely clear. I want to see Michael Johnson in his prime against Bolt in his prime in the 200. Right, like that's what I want to
Your
see.
matchups are not good.
No,
matchups.
no,
Because
no,
who's not going to race
I
Michael?
want Michael. I want
Lamar.
Michael and Van Niekerk is what I want.
Exactly.
That's a
what I
much
want.
better race.
Because
That's what I want.
So
I will also add this. I will also say to you, you cannot tell me that MJ isn't thinking to himself, could I have gone out in 20 point? Couldn't I?
I mean, yeah.
And the
Look,
answer is
MJ should still be.
Because that's the one
every
you have to
single
say
day of the
never
week.
ran hard in the quarter.
Never.
So that's why I'm saying, like, to me, again, I don't necessarily want to bring somebody back to guarantee they win. Like, MJ ran 19:32 in the 200 in his 8th race in the Olympics, right?
Yes.
So I want to see him I want to see him and Bolt race because they're both going to run hard. They both going to run as hard as they
Both
can.
going to slap his chest 20 meters from the finish line.
You know what? That's laughable that you say that. But either way, we're going to get what we all want to see, right? Which is an 18-point-something world record.
Okay, fair enough.
Right? Look, listen.
Fair enough.
I think Wade Van Niekerk is amazing. But let's be clear. I don't think anybody was going to beat 96, 95 Mike in the 400. I don't care what they ran. And I'm telling you right now, if you don't believe me, go watch the Seville World Championships semifinal in the 400 and then come back to me. Because
that is the fastest 400 ever.
That is the fastest 400 ever run. And anybody who was there will tell you it ain't close. Wade ran 43 flat, and that was brilliant. Trust me when I tell you he'd have got his ass slapped to sleep if he had raced Mike in Seville.
Clyde, the man almost looked at his watch with 100 meters to go
I've seen that tape.
and said,
I've seen that tape.
"Eh,
You ain't hear me say you ain't hear me say I would take Wade. You heard me say I'll take Bolt and I'll take the Viking. I said that. I ain't say nothing about that one.
See, I'm gonna tell you this. Okay, so
I'll take
if
Elaine.
we're gonna take Edwin in his prime, and he has the same tools that the Viking has.
yes.
Okay, I will take that, brother. I'm gonna take that. Because trust me, there has never been a bigger student of his event than Edwin Moses. Never.
Yeah.
And he would have been fined in a way. Oh, I got to run 45.5. Okay, we'll figure it out.
I mean, look, of all the things we've said tonight, let's just be honest. The best matchup out there, of all the things that we've mentioned, the best matchup out there is Prime Skeets Nehemiah versus Prime Flamingo. Like, that's the best one. That's the best one. Of all the things that we've mentioned, like, that's the best one. Because I don't think any of us disagree, right? Like, Skeets is way far as fast as we ever thought he could run.
That's true.
That is true.
Right?
That's true.
So what I'm saying is it's like him at his very best without playing football versus the guy that, like, we're afraid to guess how fast he's gonna run.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, to me, that's the best matchup.
Okay.
So for the record, I never said him versus anybody. I just said I wanted to see the man.
Right. No, you didn't. And so
I know you didn't,
sir,
but I did.
And so, sir, I'm
You
gonna,
did, yes.
Sir Lucius, I'm gonna clean it up because sometimes we have to clean up after Lamar around here from time to time.
Well, let me tell you something.
Listen,
You're the third person to try to correct me tonight. And listen, let me tell you something. My mama lives in Indianapolis, Indiana, and my daddy lives in San Antonio. Ain't neither one of them on this show.
well, listen, your little brother on the show is going to correct you so it comes out better. The best possible race in the lane that Lamar just enhanced is Skeets Nehemiah in his prime versus the future Grant Holloway. Because he hasn't put the whole race together yet in a way at this
He's
moment.
not because Grant's not in this close to his prime yet.
Right. He ain't there yet. So 2-3 years from now, I might agree with you. Maybe I'll agree with you by the end of this summer. But right now, no, sir.
So I'm going to say this because I didn't need to be corrected. The reason the race needs to happen now is because I think I'm hoping for this to happen for Grant. What may happen to Grant is the same thing that happened to Ashton, that happened to Carl, and that happened to Bolt. They got to a point where they're so much better than everybody else that we won't get to see how good they could actually be because there's nobody left to push them. The reason you got to have prime Skeets with current Grant is because that's the thing that Grant would need to see if he can run 1250 something. If he gets the guys, he's run 1280, right? 1280 something.
Yeah.
If he runs 1270 something, right? The rest of the world just runs away and hides. They concede. So then he runs a whole bunch of races where he wins and runs 1280s and 1290s and the occasional 1270. I'm not wishing this on him. I'm just telling you what has happened. Look, Ashton Eaton could have scored 9,200 points, but he won the Olympics by a whole event, guys. Like at some point in time, you need someone to take you there. Right? The reason Mike ran 19.3 is because the last 200-meter race he had before he went home to train to do last preps for the games, he lost to Frankie Fredericks. Right? So he was in the meet with somebody who had just beat his ass. So I'm telling you, like the reason that Mike Powell broke the world record is because he had Carl Lewis. If Mike was good in the earlier 80s, Carl would have jumped 31 feet, and then we wouldn't be talking about this nonsense.
So I have two rebuttals to that. Not really rebuttals, just add-ons. One, only if, because if I remember correctly, the 12.8 by Grant didn't get an A from the coach. So he would need an A rating. Okay.
And so, if we're speaking of grades, before you ask, the 737 got to be minus, and I'm
So that's what I'm saying. So the times, we talking about something else, but to follow Lamar's logic to bring back, sometimes he makes great points like what he just did, and then you think about it, and then you realize like, well, if I'm going to accept that, then that means he put his foot in his mouth earlier. So then by that logic, sir, Bolt had no challengers. So, how much faster could the 9.5 have been?
I don't think there's any question it could have been faster.
I'm just saying. You wanted to watch Carl race him. I'm like, the what?
You know what's funny? I'm gonna tell you why I said that. And the only person on here that's old enough to get this is Sir Lucius. If you saw Carl in the early, like we'll go from 83 to 90, most of that he was bored. Do I think Carl could run like 940 something? Absolutely not. But I'm going to tell you this. I definitely think Carl could have ran 960 something.
Yeah, I'm going to co-sign and say that I think the problem with Carl was people talked about Carl's, we're talking about the 0 to 30 phase, right? And how that was the one part of his race that never got better. From 30 to 100, he's one of the best ever. Yeah. And I think it never got better because it didn't have to. Because I think he felt like I don't have to get better because I can always run him down. Well, so I think that if there's been somebody like if Bennett showed up earlier in Carl's career, right, it would have forced Carl to work more on 0 to 30.
I mean, what you're talking about, Sir Lucius, is eras. We're talking about one era versus another era. In my era, in Lamar's era, 9.9 was fast.
And Carl was running it, waving at the crowd. He was just chilling.
You were fast. That is no longer the case.
Right. It's just no longer the case.
All right. So then before we move on, Lamar, I got the ultimate versus for Bolt. I got the ultimate versus. I want roided up Ben Johnson running 95 meters. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's the verses I want. Bolt at 100, Ben at 95. Run him down.
You know, what's funny? It's like we always talk about like who, like the fastest and this and that. I'm gonna tell you this right now. The 979 version of Maurice Green, I'd like to have him in that race. Because
It'd
look,
be a
yeah,
better
he
race.
ran 979, but let's be clear.
2001 Edmonton Maurice Green.
Maurice Green
Pulling up.
Maurice
and
Green is
running
one of the
9.8.
greatest technicians to ever run the 100.
Has there
And-
been anybody better?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think
so.
either. Which is why a lot of people would like to call him the GOAT, even after Bolt. But I mean, obviously Bolt's times. See, here's my thing with Bolt. Like
Both
like,
times
we can't
trump all of
we
that.
can't discount what he did. But like there came a certain point where Bolt didn't race a lot, right? But Maurice would go to Europe, jump in the races, and like if he ran 990 or ran 970 something, it always looked the same. That was the greatest of Maurice Green.
One of the coldest races I ever saw Maurice run, and I saw it live, was the Olympic trials in 2000 in the first round, where he screwed up. Like he was trying to stop. Like they used to have, HSI used to have a competition. Who can win their heat running the slowest, right? So Maurice shut it down early, and I'm pretty sure it was 9.8. And everybody's like, oh, what the hell? Like it was crazy. It was crazy.
You mean the one where he got about 80 meters and started doing this with his fingers?
Yes,
like
that
not
one.
yet. Not
that
yet.
one.
Yeah.
It was 9.8.
I was in the stadium for that one too. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think I know what the title of this episode is, and that's going to be fun. That in itself is going to be fun. The commentary after the show is going to be even better. So I'm interested to hear what text messages you all get after that. As we segue into rapid fire, I'm going to apologize I'm not sure what everyone is getting video-wise, but it's glitchy on my end. So if, as you're viewing this, if it's glitchy, your audio is awesome. Our videos might be a little mixed up. Just gotta love the hotels. So, but we live that life and fall asleep with your AirPods in. You'll be all right. So, Governor, you are aligned tonight. Hope you did a little bit of yoga, maybe a little bit of Pilates to get you ready. But okay. You ready, sir?
I'm ready.
All righty. What is your favorite homemade dish? You don't have to divulge who makes it.
Ackee and saltfish.
Say that one more time.
Ackee and saltfish.
Got it. All right.
You're so Caribbean.
I mean,
You're like 347% Caribbean. I love it. I love it.
What is the least used app on your phone?
Oh man. Angry Birds.
You still have that?
I still have it.
I gotta check to see if I still have that. Hold on.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
If you were able to go on a vacation right now, would it be to the wilderness, to a beach, or to a resort?
Beach.
Mm,
Beach.
sounds good.
You asked a guy from the Cayman Islands whether he wants to go to the wilderness.
Maybe it's a dream. I don't know. Could be a nightmare. Who knows?
No.
Be better.
Anyways, you have to get an animal tattooed on you. What is it? Which animal is it?
A turtle.
I can dig that. What is your favorite holiday? Does not have to be a US holiday.
Ooh, favorite holiday? Easter.
Interesting. What is the most overrated thing to you?
Overrated. Think about this. Give me 1 second. I will say. So many. That's a good one. Jeez. Overrated.
We'll come back.
We'll come back to that. I'm a bit flummoxed on that one. Go ahead.
Do you play Wordle?
Just started last week.
Got it.
I'm horrible at it.
So there's my next question, because that's made me think of it. I said, what are you terrible at?
I think too much. I think too much.
Got it.
Get on TikTok. There's a hack or something, I'm sure.
Okay.
Last but not
Don't
least.
do that.
Yeah,
Fight
don't
through it.
cheat. If you can fill a
TikTok
pinata
is
with-
overrated.
There you go.
There you go.
I'm not even on it. I have no clue. If you could fill a pinata with anything that you wanted, what would you fill it with?
Smarties.
Ooh, so you like sugar just straight to the brain.
Smarties.
Oh goodness, gentlemen, your rapid fire questions, please.
I would like to know what event you're most looking forward to at your conference championships next weekend.
I'm looking forward to the women's long jump.
So now we know what to keep an eye on.
Yeah, keep an eye on it.
Yep.
Yes.
Lamar or Clyde?
I would like to know the most ridiculous thing you ever heard from an administrator.
What? He can't say that publicly. What are you
Gotta say it.
No, but still, no. No. See, you on here being paid trying to get this man fired. What are you doing?
Can't do that.
Thank you, Governor.
No, I can't. And I
All
won't.
right, the most ridiculous thing you ever heard from an athlete.
Ooh wee. Wow. Well, it's pretty simple. Did you see the board? No, I didn't see the board. Straight face. Did you look at the board? Yeah. Did you see the board? No. So I'm, it's logic, right? You give instructions. You say, hey, you're allowed to look at the board. It's not moving. It's there. You can look at it. Did you see it? No. Okay. That's just recent. That's a recent one.
Lamar, last but not least.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Kareem. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Because, well, he knows what's coming. And listen, for those of you who don't know, like, the governor and I are incredibly close. Have been almost since the day we met. And there's always been this legitimate issue between us about him. So I'm going to ask the question, that I shouldn't ask, that's unfair to ask, that is really unfair for him to have to answer on camera, but I don't give a damn because this is the show and this is what we do. So I apologize before I ask it, but I'm going to ask. If you had ever done the one thing I ever begged you to do, which is actually run wide open down the runway.
Yes.
Assuming that you do not foul,
Yes.
how far do you believe you would have long jumped? So while he's thinking, this is for the rest of the world. You need to go watch these videos, but if you choose not to, I'll help you. Mr. Street Thompson lived his life in the long jump by, if you look at the definition of what the long jump approach is supposed to be, it's supposed to be, the words that are used are maximal controllable speed. And the governor literally lived his life by that. He had a governor. Like, this is fast enough.
Yes.
We're going to run this fast. I can comfortably control this. And this is what I'm going to long jump from. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, this dude's damn near an 870 guy. But he was chilling. So I'm going to ask the question. If one time somehow I convinced you, all right, we're going to run on tilt.
Yeah.
Run wide open and put your foot down. Where do you land?
Close to 9 meters.
Close to 9 meters.
Yes.
God, who earlier tonight said that he's so nice? Was that you?
Yep, that was me.
You know, what's funny, Lamar? I bumped into a friend of mine the other day and I was telling him about the classic triple jump competition where Melvin Lister got those words of encouragement right before he got on the runway in Sacramento and jumped 1780 just out of anger. And I'm thinking to myself, what if that had been me, where I just had a moment of insanity, temporary insanity? And to your point, I've had those situations many times where I'm halfway down the runway and I'm going to kill myself. And that's quite literally what I felt, so yeah.
How many times have I asked you when you were an athlete? How many times did I ask you? Have I asked you to let me coach you?
Too many times.
And literally, this, like 0% of those times was it out of arrogance, right?
Yes.
I just always felt like I was the one human being that could finally get you to just one time. One time.
Put the key in the lock and unlock it. Yeah.
Look, I need the rest of the world to understand, like, this gentleman and I have had competitions that were like the most cutthroat things ever known to man. So I've seen the monster unleashed that nobody in a long jump competition's ever seen unleashed. Like, I've seen this dude jump 790 from 6 steps, not 6 lefts, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So
memories.
Yeah, just around 9 meters. Shut your mouth.
That was really funny.
Dude, this dude's, what's your PB in the 100? 990 what?
996.
And he never ran faster down the runway than somewhere in the neighborhood of 1020.
Yes.
For a 10-meter segment. Like, I mean, I hate to say this, like, he'll tell you he was legitimately afraid of his speed.
Scary. All right. to continue the tradition of February, we will highlight someone significant to us or we found unique to us in regards to Black History Month. So pardon my voice. I'm going to go first. I'm stealing it. Dorothy Height was someone who I was able to find, research, and kind of learn about. She actually was one of the first leaders of the young YWCA. And she had a background in education and social work. And so she used that as the basis as to how she was going to move forward women's rights specifically. She was one of the few women present. Where is that? At the March on Washington when MLK, gave his "I Have a Dream" speech. So I thought that was pretty significant as a person in Black history being a female once again. So that was pretty cool.
Okay, I will jump in here and go next. And I'm actually going to honor three Black females. There have only been 3 women to win Olympic medals in the shot put. 3 American women, I should say. Let me qualify that, okay? Miss Earlene Brown won the bronze in 1960. Miss Michelle Carter, the shot diva, won the gold in 2016. And our one and only Miss Raven Saunders won the silver in 2020. And not only are they the only Americans ever win a medal in the shot put, they all happen to be African Americans. So, kudos to those 3 ladies.
It's awesome to see.
So I fight with this because Black history is one of those things that's kind of near and dear to me. For those who don't know, I am a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I say that not as a brag. I say that almost as a qualifier for what I'm about to say. The gentlemen that I want to speak about are the founding fathers, known to us as the jewels of Alpha Phi Alpha. They are super duper important to us, yes, but I think they're far more important to African Americans in college. Henry Arthur Callis, Charles Henry Chapman, Eugene Kinkle Jones, George Biddle Kelly, Nathaniel Allison Murray, Robert Harold Ogle, and Vertner Woodson Tandy. They were the 7 founding fathers of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Why do I feel like it's relevant to bring them up? Because we all talk about sometimes, the past and how hard it was to be Black in the past, right? But usually we're talking about slavery or we're talking about the 50s. Probably the 2 worst times in America to be Black, right? Either one of those. What I can imagine, and I think all of us need to just for 1 second, put ourselves in these crazy times. I want you to imagine being African American at an Ivy League school in 1906. Right? You talk about a chocolate chip in milk, right? You might never ever feel more different or Blacker or more anti-white than in this particular scenario, right? Because nobody that you see on a daily basis wants you there. They barely want Black folks to read in 1900, let alone be in college, let alone be in an Ivy League school. And to be immersed in all of that and feel as if what you now need to do is plant a flag for young African American males who go to college to then be in a leadership and human services organization. In 1906, in Ithaca, New York, at a place like Cornell University. Why do I think it's significant? It isn't because I'm an alpha, I promise you. It's because trailblazers are the ones that really and truly need to be ballyhooed, because so much that happens after that only happens because of the ridiculous level of sacrifice and a ridiculous level of fear that the trailblazers were willing to face, right? Those 7 guys, they risked being expelled from a school that most people never even thought they should have been in the first place. And I just think it is absolutely like amazing that there were 7 African-American males at Cornell in 1906, and that they decided to found the first, Greek letter organization predominantly for African-Americans, and then to spread said, it to other campuses. Do I think the rest of the 9 are important? Absolutely. Do I think they're all amazing in their own ways? Absolutely. I mean, hell, the guy who wrote Divine Nine pledged me, right? He's an AE brother, like the chapter that I came from. So I have a great deal of respect for all of the Greek letter organizations that are represented, by our African American brothers and sisters. But I do think that the original 7 don't get the credit that they deserve for the sacrifice and the boldness that they took on, being those people in that place, in that time, in this country. So my props go to the jewels.
It's well said, sir. We will await the Twitter fight between all the Greek organizations.
Which unfortunately you're right, and I want to say this again before the fight happens. This isn't about the fact that I'm an alpha and they're alphas. Like, look, if they had been Qs, if the Qs were first, like, I would be saying what I'm saying. Because
there will be no fight.
I hope not. I hope not. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about that.
See, yeah. Can we hear what you have to say, Clyde? Because that was petty and you did it on purpose. So let's go. And he fell for it.
It was
exactly.
a soft.
He fell for it, yeah.
So those people who know me decently well know that outside of track and field, I'm a political junkie. And so my heartbeat props in the spirit of Black history, we're go out to a very special person in Black political history. Right now, President Biden is getting ready to put the first Black woman on the Supreme Court. We have a Black woman in the White House as our VP, and we've had numerous phenomenal Black women in Congress. But all of that goes back to Shirley Chisholm. And Shirley Chisholm was the first Black woman elected to Congress. She is from New York's 12th district. And she's also the Democrat Party's first female to run for president. A lot of people don't know that. Her campaign slogan was unbought and unbossed. And I couldn't think of a better thing that we need right now in today's politics. So rest in peace to Miss Shirley Chisholm, a true pioneer of all things and the type of spirit that I think we desperately need back in our leadership positions in this country. Black women are everything to our fight in our political discourse, and they don't get enough credit across the board. But whatever they're doing, it all started with Shirley Chisholm.
Fun fact: the Huffster went to Shirley Chisholm Elementary School.
Nice.
I thought you would like the New York love there.
The first school in New York that was named after an African American female.
And Lamar, you actually mentioned my birthplace.
I try.
Ithaca,
try.
New York.
I try. You know,
Never-
I try
never
to I
been-
try to drop these nuggets in there.
So
Can you explain to the world why you were born in Ithaca, New York, please?
Yeah, because that ain't no damn island. I tell you that.
Yeah, people don't know that Kareem's a New Yorker by way of Cayman.
So back in the day, and I think it still happens now, a lot of Caribbean mothers will come to the US and have their children. And that was exactly the plan with my mother. And one of her best friends was at school in Ithaca. And so she literally flew to New York and went to Ithaca and had me in Ithaca. And then I flew back when I was a couple months old. I have never seen my birthplace. I've never been to Ithaca. I do plan on it at some point.
Don't go in the winter time, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, nah.
Don't do it, huh?
It snows feet at a time.
Right. But yeah, so but understand, just think about an island boy being told that he's from New York in the mid 80s, and you understand what happened at that point when I discovered LL Cool J and Run DMC, and whole world just exploded at that point.
That's funny.
So I was thinking about Black history, and I started to look at the history of Tommy Smith and John Carlos. And everybody knows about the picture, right? Everybody knows about the iconic raised fist, and everybody knows what they were standing for. What I didn't know was that they had some very specific demands, and the product of what was called the revolt of the Black athlete. And this is 1968, so you understand what kind of climate they were in. Amateur Black athletes formed OPHR, the Olympic Project for Human Rights, to organize a Black boycott of the 1968 Olympic Games. Its main organizer, Harry Edwards, and its primary athletic spokespeople, Smith, and the 400-meter sprinter, Lee Evans, were deeply influenced by the Black freedom struggle. Their goal was nothing less than to expose how the United States used Black athletes to project a lie about race relations, both at home and internationally. But here's what gets me. They had 4 central demands. Restore Muhammad Ali's heavyweight boxing title. I didn't know that. Remove Avery Brundage as head of the International Olympic Committee. Hire more Black coaches. Think about that. 1968. Hire
1968.
more Black coaches. Okay? And disinvite South Africa and Rhodesia from the Olympics. Okay? So the coaching part just stuck out to me, because it's still a fight that's being fought to this day, and again, I give props to the Miami Dolphins head coach that is now putting his name on the line, his reputation on the line, and fighting for what he believes in. And if I were ever to meet up with him or anything like that, I would tell him, hey man, this fight has been going on way, way long. And for you to stand up for yourself and put your career on the line, heartbeat props to you. Yes,
Good.
indeed.
That was good.
When are we going to get the picture with you standing next to the statue, Clyde?
When we do something worthy of me standing.
Okay. All right.
Well, so I will say this. I have been, this is not a flex. I have been super duper blessed enough to not only meet those two gentlemen, but at the very least become friends with John and associates with Tommy, right? Mm-hmm. They're both in my phone kind of people. And what's most interesting is I also audited a class taught by Harry Edwards when I was at Berkeley. And I will tell you, you need to know all three of them to get all of what you just said.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't get the whole story unless you talk to all three of them. But if you talk to all three of them, you get that, like, as weird as it sounds, they didn't know it was going to go the way it went and be as big of a deal as it was. And they had much bigger plans for it, as weird as that sounds. Right? Like they thought it was going to go a certain way, and they had plans for more podium protests throughout the Olympics. Right? They never in life thought it was ever going to be as big, or that the USOC was going to take as much umbrage or the tack that they took against them. Like, at no point in time did any of them think that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hopefully we've been able to shed some light on people for you. And if you took Lamar's challenge, good on you. Good on you. So, everyone, best wishes, travel safe. Governor, we've got you. We're lifting your team up, and
appreciate it.
Everyone's going to be safe, healthy, and well for your conference championship next week. We got you. So, other than that, everyone have a great evening, great weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Bye, everyone.
When the lights come on, the road just get to running. When the lights come on, opponents smash the plumbing. Heard you like it warm, hot, knife the butter. Truth hit them hard, knock them off that rebuttal. Tsunami, tidal wave to your puddle. Tough love, punch you in the arms, little brothers. Athletics LLC, there's no others. Track and field's placing with pill to go further. Hey, Wiley, Coyote, it's road runners. Feels like you know us, you've been with us the whole summer. If not for this quarantine, these four corners wouldn't be here, but we here, so start learning. You gotta earn your stripes, gotta get your scars. Show you how to fight, but show us who you are. You lack experience, but still you wanna talk. And who is actually talking to you? Circle's kinda small. Heads prevail when the backbone's strong. Gotta keep it coming, no, it won't last long. Pass and fail, then sell the sad song. And if you don't check yourself, then that's wrong. Just trying to give you the real that you asked for. So why you keep cutting us off to ask more? We put it in slow-mo, but you fast forward. Athletics LLC, the task force.